And no matter how strong your relationship is, conflict is inevitable. What separates couples who stay connected from those whose relationships fall apart is how well they can repair after a conflict situation. So in today's video, what we're going to do is we're going to break down my Repair Attempt Toolkit, the toolkit that you need to figure out exactly how to get back to connection after you have some kind of rupture or conflict in your relationship. We're going to talk about what a repair attempt is and why they're so critical to your relationship, how to use co-regulation together with your partner to calm down when you're in a conflict situation. We're going to go through the Gottman Repair Attempt Formula that Dr. John and Julie Gottman came up with in their research, led to successful couples recovering from conflict situations. And we're going to talk about how to truly take accountability and apologize the right way, because there's a wrong way and a right way to apologize. And we're going to go into detail about how to do it right. So by the end of this video, I want to give you a practical guide on how to repair from conflict situations in your relationship so that you can strengthen those bonds with your partner and come out of conflict situations stronger and more capable than you were before, instead of letting conflict tear your relationship apart. Let's get into it. So what is a repair attempt? Well, Dr. John Gottman talks about a repair attempt being any statement, action, or gesture that helps a couple de-escalate from conflict and to reconnect partners after a fight. Dr. John Gottman found in his research that what really determines if a couple stays together is not how often they fight, but how successful their repair attempts are. It's not about how big those fights are, it's about coming back together after the fight occurs. So a repair attempt can be all kinds of stuff. It can be a verbal statement like, I see what you mean. It can be a physical gesture like reaching out for a hug or putting your arm around your partner. And it can even be humor, like cracking a joke to smooth things over with your partner after you guys have had a really vicious fight. Here's the thing. The key is that a repair attempt is not just about ending the fight itself. It's about reconnecting after a conflict creates disconnection in your relationship. So let's talk about how to begin that healing process. Have you ever tried to talk to your partner when you feel really angry or overwhelmed in the moment? Yeah, well, you probably know it doesn't go very well. That's because when we're emotionally dysregulated, we can't have a productive conversation. So the key here is to use emotional regulation techniques to be able to calm down in the moment with your partner and then re-engage in a more intentional, focused way, which is why the first step here is co-regulation, which means using each other to calm down instead of make things worse. When you get into this pattern of conflict with your partner, the first step here is this co-regulation piece. Otherwise, the conflict's just going to escalate, and you're going to say things that you don't mean to your partner, and it's only going to make things worse. Here are a few ways to begin to calm down with your partner in the moment, instead of reacting from emotion and escalating the conflict further. 1, you can use soothing touch, if this is welcome with your partner, by putting your hand on their back, by putting your arm around them, by giving them a hug. Physical touch activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which brings your body's regulated state down. And this helps you calm down in the moment. Next thing you can do is breathe together with your partner. You can sit across from each other, even hold hands while you do this, and take some deep breaths together. By breathing in sync with your partner, you begin to slow your nervous system down, both for yourself and for your partner. So if one of you is in a more regulated state, you have to take the initiative here. You have to reach out to your partner and say, hey, I want to talk about this with you, but let's take a moment to calm down first so we can have this conversation in a calmer state. The last thing is using a gentle tone. Research has shown that by using a sharp tone with your partner, it actually activates our fight or flight response. It makes you seem threatening to them. So the best way to calm you and your partner down is by approaching the conflict with a gentle tone, by focusing on lowering your tone and coming in with a sympathetic or calming tone of voice can really go a long way to helping your partner regulate and approach you in a calm way as well. The last thing you can do if co-regulation with your partner in the moment is not possible is to take a break. Taking a break can be huge, because when we get into a place where we're escalating the conflict with our partner and emotions are getting higher and higher, we often get to a place where neither one of us is not going to really say anything nice to the other person. In order to break that cycle, you need to do something dramatic, and that can mean taking a timeout. Remember that timeouts can be unilateral. One person gets to decide if they're taking a timeout and the other person has to respect it. But the other rule for timeouts is that you have to come back together at some point. So set a time to check in with your partner, whether it's an hour from now or 2 hours from now, and make sure that you come back to the conversation when you're both in a more regulated state. Now, during the timeout, you can't be ruminating on what's going wrong with your partner and how angry you are about it. You need to be trying to calm down. That means doing deep breathing, going on a walk, doing something to take your mind off of the actual incident and get yourself to a place where you can approach the conversation less from a place of emotion and more from a place of intentionality. Okay, let's talk about how to actually repair once you're in a place where you can do that effectively. Dr. Gottman has a repair attempt formula, and this is what it looks like. Step 1 is to take responsibility. Instead of getting defensive, you need to take responsibility for your part of what happened. Now, here's the thing. The typical pattern that couples get into that I see is that you may feel like your partner did everything wrong. But in every conflict, there's something that you can take accountability for. Look for that. Find something that you can take accountability for and own it. And instead of getting defensive, say, I'm sorry for my piece in this conflict. Part 2 is to express remorse. Say that you're sorry for the thing that you did and really show how much you regret it. It's key here to put the emotion behind your words. Don't just say, I'm sorry, but really genuinely mean it and show your partner how much you regret doing the thing that you are taking accountability for. And part 3 is to commit to change. Both you and your partner commit to doing something differently the next time, recognizing the pattern when it comes up, calling that pattern out, responding differently in the moment, co-regulating if need be. But you have to commit to that next step of change in the future. These small changes can make or break a repair attempt. And they really come down to taking full accountability. So let's talk about how to do that in a more specific way. Let's be real. Most people think that they are apologizing effectively when really their partner doesn't feel like they're really getting it. According to the therapist Terry Real, most people in conflict tend to go either one up or one down. One up means that they are blaming, they're criticizing, they're looking down on their partner and showing them that they did the wrong thing. Telling their partner that they are the person who's wrong here and they're wrong because of something that they did that is bad. Or they go one down. One down means getting defensive or even shutting down, stonewalling. In that case, you shut your partner out entirely and you begin to kind of detach from your responsibility in the situation. Now, the remedy here for both the one up and the one down approach to conflict is taking radical accountability. Instead of saying, I'm sorry if I hurt you, just say, I see that I hurt you and I regret it. Talk about your impact on the other person. Try to find something specific that you can take accountability for, but if you can't find something very specific, focus on the emotions that you caused in the other person and be genuine. Say, I'm sorry, I see that I hurt you. I hear that you're angry. I'm sorry that I contributed to that and I really regret it. Once you take accountability, that next step is to apologize. Let's talk about how to make your apology really effective. Now, Dr. Harriet Lerner has a great series of books that I would highly recommend that you read, and one of them is called Why Won't You Apologize? I love this book because it gives you a very clear, detailed path to creating a really solid apology. And let's break down what she says. The first mistake that people often make when giving an apology is by including the word but. You might say, I'm really sorry for yelling at you, but you were yelling at me first. You can see how the but that you include there really cancels out the apology. So what's better here is to give no excuses. Take full accountability and apologize by saying, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have yelled at you. No excuses. Mistake number 2 is making your apology into an over apology that flips the script and makes you into the victim. A good example of this would be, I'm sorry that I yelled at you. I'm the worst person ever. Do you even love me anymore? You can see how that flips the script. And now this apology turns into your partner having to comfort you instead of you being able to process their hurt. A better way of expressing this is to, again, take full accountability and then turning that self-blame into appreciation. That could sound like, I messed up. I'm really sorry. And I appreciate you being patient with me. See how that sounds different than turning yourself into the victim there. Mistake number 3 is expecting immediate forgiveness when you give an apology. I'm guilty of this sometimes in my own relationship. And what it can sound like is, hey, I said I was sorry for yelling at you. Why are you still mad at me? Can't we just get over this and move on? Here's the thing. Apologies don't necessitate immediate forgiveness. Forgiveness is something that your partner has the choice whether or not to give. And sometimes it can take a little while. It's important to give your partner the space to feel hurt and come to forgiveness on their own terms. A better way to do this apology would sound like, hey, I'm really sorry for yelling at you earlier. I really didn't mean it. I regret it. And I understand if you need some time. I just wanted to let you know that I regret doing it. I'm sorry. All right, so let's talk about how to put this into practice. Next time that you have a conflict with your partner, remember, you need to repair and come to a point of repair as quickly as possible. The best way to do this is by starting with co-regulation. Use some deep breaths, use physical touch, and use a gentle tone when approaching your partner about the conflict. Remember, if you are not able to calm down in the moment and your partner isn't either, it's okay for you to take a break. and only one person needs to decide to take a break in order for that break to be taken. The next thing is to use the Gottman Repair Attempt Formula, which is to own it, express remorse, and talk about what you're going to do differently next time. Avoid the mistakes of falling into defensiveness, of making it all about you and your partner taking care of you, or pressuring your partner for instant forgiveness. Take accountability, own up to it, and allow your partner the space to forgive you on their own time after they've processed your apology. This is how you turn conflict into connection over time. Remember that your relationship is not ruined if you have conflict. The practice is being able to repair with your partner after these times of conflict occur. If you like this video, please give me a like and hit subscribe down below, and share this video with someone who you think might benefit from it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you next time.